welcome to today's video on abstraction and inheritance. In the last video, we have seen all the keywords and buzzwords related to object-oriented programming with relation to Java. Now, in a few of the videos coming ahead, we'll take a look at each one of these in a bit more detail. So today we are going to talk about abstraction and inheritance. So let's jump right into the video. Abstraction is the mechanism of hiding implementation details from the user and representing only the essential features. So basically, we are hiding the non-essential details which we don't have to bother about, and we are showing only the essential details or the useful features to the user. Now, how do we do that? Let's take an example. Let's talk about a car. Okay, don't focus on my drawing, it's pretty bad. Let's take example of a car. Now, what do you need to know is that if you want to increase the speed of the car, you have to press the accelerator, and if you want to stop, you have to press the brakes, right? Likewise for a motorcycle or a truck, etc. Now, these are basically the essential features that someone driving a car should know about. So we show these essential features. We provide pedals to hit accelerate and put a brake on, right? But what is the detail that is hidden? That is the non-essential details, which is what happens when you press the accelerator, which engine part does what, where what happens, or similarly when you press brake, which wires hit where and how does the car tires stop, right? Those are the irrelevant or non-essential details that are hidden. Someone who's driving the car doesn't need to know about the mechanism of all of that. You just need to know that, okay, this is the accelerator and these are the brakes, and that's it. That is all that he needs to drive, right? Similarly, when you declare a class, there could be some members in your class that needs to be shown to the user, that needs to be accessible to the user, while there could be some other members that need to be hidden, right? And this feature of hiding and showing the details is achieved in Java by two ways. One is abstract class and the other is an interface. So what happens in an abstract class? You declare a class abstract, let's say abstract class A, and there could be n number of data members as well as functions in this class, right? So what do you mean by abstract class is, number one, you cannot create an object of an abstract class, right? There can be one or more than one abstract methods inside an abstract class. So any class that has an abstract method has to be abstract class, right? But the other way around is not necessary. A class can be abstract, doesn't mean that there has to be any abstract method inside the class. But if there is even a single abstract method in the class, you definitely have to make that class abstract. Alright, so how do you use abstract classes is you extend them. So some other class B extends class A. Now, if your class is extending an abstract class, you must provide the body of the abstract method. So the method X will have full body inside this class B. Okay, so a class A can have one or more abstract methods, correct? And if B extends A, it has to implement all those abstract methods inside class B. Alright, and remember one key point, that if there is an abstract method inside a class, the class needs to be declared as the abstract class. But it is not necessary that you declare a class as abstract and there is an abstract method, right? The other way around is not necessary. Okay, moving on to interface. Now interface can simply be called a blueprint of a class, right? It can have its data members and the functions, and all the functions inside an interface are abstract functions, which is only the body of the function is there. Sorry, no body of the function is there, right? So let's say if we have class A is an interface and class B wants to implement the interface, so we use the implements keyword. Class B implements class A. Remember, when we were doing abstraction using abstract classes, you have to extend an abstract class, while when we are talking about interface, you have to implement an interface. Alright, similarly, let's say class X, which is abstract, okay, and you want to use this and this both, so it will look something like class B extends class X implements class A, correct? So it is extending this abstract class and implementing this interface. It will have both features of this class A as well as of this class X. Alright, so what interfaces help with is they provide total abstraction, as there is no function in an interface with a body. So we basically say that interfaces provide total abstraction in Java. Alright, so that was about abstraction, interface and abstract classes. Now let's move on to inheritance and see what different type of inheritances are there and how do we implement those inheritances in Java, right? Before that, abstraction reduces complexity in the program. It avoids code duplication, because you see the code that you would have written here in class X can be reused here. You don't have to write it again in class B. So it is helping to avoid code duplication and it increases reusability. So the code in this interface class A can be reused again and again. Multiple classes can implement this class A interface. So it provides reusability. Alright, now moving on to inheritance. Inheritance is a mechanism in which an object acquires the properties and behavior of the parent object, and it offers robust and natural mechanism for organization and structure of a software. So let's say we have a class A which is inherited by class B. Alright, so first let's clear the terminology. Class A is referred by multiple names. It is called base class and it is also called as parent class. Similarly, class B also has multiple names. It is called as subclass, it is also called as child class, right, and it is also referred to as derived class. These are all the names that are given to a class that extends the properties of another class, right? So let's see the different types, starting with single inheritance, which is fairly simple. We have class A and it is directly inherited by class B. Now this can be an interface or this can be an abstract class, anything, correct? In case of abstract class, we will extend. In case of interface, we will implement. Okay, so if this is an interface, class B will implement class A. If it is an abstract class, class B will extend class A. So this direct one-on-one is referred to as single inheritance. Next is multi-level inheritance. So what happens in multi-level inheritance? We have a base class, right, which is inherited by an intermediate class, fine, which is again inherited by the child class. So when there is this chain involving multiple, so this can be more than one, right, greater than one. So A can extend B, then there can be, this chain can go as long as B, then C, then D, and finally child class can be E. So whenever there is a chain forming like this, a single chain forming like this, it is called multi-level inheritance. Alright. Next up is hierarchical inheritance. What happens in that is one class, that is the base class, is extended by multiple classes. So C, D, and these are all child classes inheriting the same base class. This kind of, whenever you do, say C extends A, then there is another class B also that extends A, then there is one more class DX extending the A. When there are multiple classes extending or implementing the same base class, that is known as hierarchical inheritance. Alright. Next up, what we have is multiple inheritance. Now, multiple inheritance, please remember, is achieved only through interfaces, not through abstract classes. Remember this, abstract classes don't allow multiple inheritance, only interfaces. So there can be an interface A, there can be another interface B, and there can be a class that implements both A and B, right? So this is what we know as multiple inheritance, and this, I'll repeat again, happens only through interfaces, not through abstract classes. Alright. Final we have is hybrid interface, again through interface. Hybrid inheritance is also only and only through interface. So you can have a class that is implemented by class B and C, and you can have a class D which implements both B and C, correct? This kind of structure can only be implemented by interface, and this is also sometimes referred to as by the term diamond problem. Alright. So these are the five different type of inheritance. Let's just quickly review. Single inheritance, class A to class B. Multi-level inheritance, when there is a chain forming A to B to C, all the classes in the middle are called intermediate classes. And finally reaching to the child class. Then we have hierarchical, when one class is extended or implemented by more than one classes. Then we have multiple inheritance only through interfaces, where a class implements more than one interface. And then we have hybrid inheritance, which is again only through interfaces. Alright. So that was about abstraction and inheritance, guys. In the next video, we'll talk about polymorphism and encapsulation. Stay tuned, because the few more videos that are coming up are going to be around object-oriented programming terminologies and understanding all these terminologies in a bit more detail. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye and happy coding.